The starship Vigilant moved through the silent dark like a silver arrow. Its long wings caught the faint light of distant stars, but the space ahead was almost black. Captain Evan Tekor stood at the main window and watched the endless night. Beyond this point lay the outer rim of the Milky Way, a region so empty that even starlight seemed to fear it. For weeks the crew had mapped dead systems and cold dust clouds. No trade routes, no colonies, only the slow drift of forgotten worlds. Then, only 3 days ago, the silence had broken. It began as a faint pulse, a rhythmic pattern hidden inside the noise of background radiation. At first it sounded like the heartbeat of a dying star, but the science team soon ruled that out. The signal carried structure. It repeated with perfect timing, like someone knocking on a door in the dark. "Coordinates confirmed," said Commander Jexa, the Vigilance first officer. Her eyes glowed faintly in the soft blue light of the bridge. "Origin is a single system ahead." The pattern continues. "Strength increasing." Captain Avon folded his hands behind his back. His species, the tall and copper-skinned Ivori, prized calm thought over quick action. Yet even he felt a small thrill in his chest. "No Concord records show life beyond this sector," he said. "And yet someone calls to us." Around him the crew exchanged quiet looks. The Galactic Concord, an alliance of dozens of ancient species, had explored nearly every arm of the galaxy. They knew of forgotten ruins and wandering stars, but this corner of the rim was supposed to be empty. Now an unknown voice whispered across the void. The fleet moved together. 5 ships, each a city of metal and light. Their mission was simple: chart new space, gather data, and report anything of value. But the signal changed everything. The Concord Council back home sent a single message: investigate with caution. No other instructions followed. Hours stretched into a day as the fleet slid closer to the source. Sensors read only faint starlight and an unusual cluster of dark matter, dense enough to hide entire systems. The pilot spoke in hushed tones as if loud voices might break the fragile discovery. Captain Avon spent the long shift reviewing every scrap of information. The signal was not just a random beat. It carried layers of sound, soft rises and falls like a melody from a forgotten dream. Linguists argued whether it might be music, a code, or even a greeting. Some believed it was a distress call, though no sign of damage came from the coordinates. When the fleet finally crossed the last dark barrier, the view changed all at once. Before them burned a hidden star, small, golden, and alive. Around it danced 3 planets and a thin ring of glittering ice. The system lay inside a pocket of dark matter, invisible from the outside, as if the universe itself had drawn a curtain across it. Gasps filled the bridge. Planets meant gravity. Gravity meant the chance for life. "Unbelievable," whispered Jexa. "How long has this been hiding here?" "Long enough for myths to fade," Captain Avon replied. Scans began at once. 2 of the worlds were frozen shells, but the third glowed green and blue like a jewel. Oceans shone beneath thick clouds. Cities glittered across its night side, bright webs of light too regular to be natural. The signal came from this world. "Intelligent life," said the science officer, his voice tight with awe. "Confirmed, but, Captain, there is no entry in any Concord archive for a species here." "Nothing." Captain Avon's heart beat faster. Entire civilizations did not simply vanish from records, not in the careful history of the Concord. Yet here stood proof of a thriving people, alive and hidden. The fleet approached orbit with shields raised but weapons silent. They had no wish to frighten whoever lived below. Still, tension thickened the air. On the observation screens, the planet turned slowly, revealing vast oceans, mountains dusted with white, and great forests glowing faintly with bioluminescent life. A place of beauty and mystery. Then the signal changed. The rhythmic pulses softened into clear tones like a language shaped into music. A new layer of sound emerged, calm, deliberate, unmistakably intelligent. The bridge translators struggled, catching fragments. "Welcome." "We see you, travelers of the stars." Every officer froze. The message was not only a greeting, it was in the Concord trade tongue, though softened and shaped by an unfamiliar accent. "They know us," Jexa breathed. "How?" No one had an answer. The Concord had not sent messages ahead. No probe could have warned these people. Yet they spoke the language of the galaxy as if they had waited for this moment. Captain Avon ordered an open channel. "This is Captain Avon Tekor of the Galactic Concord Exploration Fleet. We come in peace and seek understanding. With whom do we speak? For a heartbeat there was silence. Then a woman's voice replied, warm and steady. This is Mara Ilian. We are the people of Sol. We welcome the Concord to the edge of the galaxy. Sol. The name meant nothing to the crew, but the tone carried quiet confidence as though their visitor status had been expected for ages. People of Sol, Avon said carefully, your presence here is unknown to the Concord. We wish to learn of you if you allow. You may learn, Mara replied, but know this, you have arrived late. We have been here a long time. Her words sent a chill through the bridge. Late? How long could a civilization remain hidden while the Concord mapped star after star? And why did her voice carry the subtle rhythm of someone who had studied them already? The crew worked quickly to prepare a landing team. Protocol demanded careful steps. First contact was delicate. Yet curiosity burned hotter than caution. What species could cloak a whole system inside dark matter? How had they mastered a language they should not know? And why reveal themselves now? As the Vigilant held orbit, Captain Avon allowed himself a rare moment of wonder. He looked at the glowing planet below, at the quiet fleets waiting in formation, and at the endless dark beyond. For centuries, the Concord believed they were the greatest explorers of the galaxy, but someone else had walked these stars before them. Someone who now invited them to a meeting at the very edge of the Milky Way. Prepare the envoy team, Avon said softly. Human or not, we will meet these people. The bridge officers turned to him with questioning eyes. Human? Jexa asked. The word Mara used, people of Sol, Avon explained. The translators gave another meaning. In one ancient trade dialect, Sol means sun, and in a fragment of forgotten Concord history, a species once called themselves humans. The name hung in the air like a spark waiting to ignite. Beyond the window, the hidden star burned brighter as if listening. The Vigilant glided into a gentle orbit above the hidden world. From the bridge, Captain Avon Takor watched the planet turn beneath them. Wide oceans caught the soft gold of the concealed sun, and white clouds swirled over dark green continents. The system's strange dark matter curtain glowed faintly behind the fleet, as if trying to hide them all again. The landing plan was cautious. A single envoy ship would descend first, carrying Captain Avon, Commander Jexa, and a small team of scientists and translators. The other Concord vessels would remain in high orbit, shields raised but weapons silent. No one wished to spark fear. The humans, if that was truly their name, had welcomed them with calm voices. Yet the unknown always carried risk. Inside the shuttle bay, the envoy craft hummed to life. Engineers checked every system twice. Even with layers of protocol, the crew moved with unusual quiet. First contact with an unlisted species was rare enough. First contact with a species that already knew their language was something else entirely. Commander Jexa adjusted the seals of her exploration suit and turned to Avon. Captain, our scans still show no high-energy weapons on the surface. No orbital defenses, no hidden fleets. Either they truly have nothing, or they hide it better than anyone we have ever met. Avon gave a slow nod. The absence of threat is itself a kind of strength. Let us meet them with open eyes. The envoy craft detached and slid downward through soft clouds. Sensors reported perfect weather. It was almost too perfect. Winds balanced, temperature steady, radiation levels safe. The science officer whispered a quiet report. Planetary stability is remarkable. No magnetic storms. Gravity fluctuations near zero. Almost as if the world corrects itself, no one replied. The thought carried its own weight. The shuttle broke through the lower clouds and revealed a vast coastal city shining in the afternoon light. Towers of white stone and silver glass rose among green gardens and open waterways. Airships glided between platforms without visible engines. Streets curved in elegant patterns, each design pleasing to the eye yet unfamiliar in style. There was no sign of military power, yet the city radiated quiet confidence. Coordinates received, said the pilot. The humans request we land in the central plaza. The craft descended toward a wide circle of polished stone, set beside a river that sparkled like liquid crystal. Waiting there was a group of perhaps 20 humans. They stood in neat formation, wearing simple robes of deep blue and gray. Their faces held a variety of shapes and shades, but everyone watched the envoy ship with calm, steady eyes. The shuttle touched down with a soft hiss. The ramp lowered. Captain Avon stepped forward, flanked by Jexa and the science team. Warm air brushed his skin, carrying scents of salt water and flowering trees. The sound of distant chimes floated across the plaza. A woman approached from the human group. She walked with quiet strength, her dark hair bound back, her eyes bright as if holding some private knowledge. When she reached the foot of the ramp, she placed a hand over her chest in greeting. "Welcome, travelers of the conquered," she said. Her voice was clear, the accent soft and musical. "I am Mara Ilian. I speak for the people of Sol." Captain Avon returned the gesture. "We thank you for your welcome, Mara Ilian. I am Captain Avon Takor of the exploration ship Vigilant. We come in peace and seek understanding of those who live here." Mara smiled, a small but genuine curve of the lips. "Peace is the beginning of all understanding. You are most welcome. You have traveled far to find what was already near." The words puzzled Avon, but he let them pass. "Your signal reached us only days ago. How long have you known we were coming?" "We have known for a very long time," Mara replied simply. "Your conquered grows in bright spirals. Your ships explore and record. The pattern of your travel is clear to any who watch carefully. We have watched for ages." Her calm admission sent a quiet ripple through the envoy team. Ages? How long had these humans been observing the galaxy? And how had they remained unseen? Mara gestured toward a set of wide steps leading into the heart of the city. "Please walk with me. We have prepared a place for conversation." The visitors followed across smooth stone streets. Everywhere they looked, life moved with peaceful order. Children played near fountains shaped like stars. Traders exchanged goods in open markets. Music drifted from balconies, soft and harmonious. Yet sensors hidden in the envoy uniforms continued to send impossible readings. Air quality near perfect, energy signatures balanced, gravitational drift almost zero. It was as if the entire city, perhaps the entire planet, operated with unseen precision. Inside a great hall of glass and polished wood, long tables were set with food and clear water. Humans of different ages waited politely. No guards stood near, no weapons hung on walls. Yet Captain Avon sensed no weakness. These people carried an invisible authority that needed no display. During the first exchange of questions, the humans spoke openly of their world. They called their planet Earth, though some also named it Sol's third after their hidden sun. Long ago, they said, their ancestors had walked among the stars. "We traveled far," Mara explained, her eyes steady on Avon. "We saw many young species take their first steps into space. Some chose to build alliances. Others chose war. We chose silence." Commander Yexa leaned forward. "If your people once traveled widely, why retreat here? Why hide inside dark matter?" "Because the galaxy was not ready," Mara said softly. "Power without patience brings ruin. We returned to the edge to wait." The simplicity of her answer left the room silent. Captain Avon studied her face, searching for signs of deception, but found only calm certainty. One of the scientists, a small, silver-skinned Koran, activated a hollow map. "Your world shows gravitational balance far beyond natural levels. Is this the result of ancient technology?" Mara turned her gaze to the glowing map. "Earth protects itself. The systems you measure are not machines, but harmonies. Our ancestors learned how to listen to the fabric of space and encourage balance. We maintain it still." The translator struggled to capture the exact meaning, but the implication was clear. These humans claim to guide the forces of nature itself, gravity, magnetism, even planetary stability, not with weapons or engines, but with knowledge deeper than conquered science. Commander Jexa whispered near Avon's ear. "If this is true, their control of physics is beyond anything in the archives." Avon gave a slight nod. "And yet they show no sign of conquest." Mara continued, her voice gentle but firm. "We do not seek to rule. We choose to keep the lattice of life steady. The galaxy spins in delicate patterns. A single violent act can echo across stars. We guard against such echoes." The hall grew quiet again. The envoy team felt the weight of her words, even if the details remained mysterious. It was not the claim of a conqueror, but of a caretaker. As the conversation stretched into the evening, Captain Avon noticed other small impossibilities. A sudden gust of wind outside was predicted by a child moments before it arrived. A scientist's drop tool slowed in midair as if the planet itself refused to let it break. None of the humans reacted. To them, these events were normal. When night fell, the visitors were offered guest chambers overlooking the river. Stars glittered above, sharper and brighter than anywhere in the Concord charts. From the balcony, Avon watched the city lights form graceful spirals that matched the signal's rhythm. The same pattern that had called them across the void now pulsed gently below, as if the planet itself breathed in time. Commander Jexa joined him. "Captain," she said quietly, "our sensors confirm no heavy weapons, yet this world bends physics. If they wished, they could stop our fleet without firing a shot." Avon kept his eyes on the glowing city. Perhaps power is greatest when it does not need to be shown. He thought of Mara's steady voice and the children predicting the weather with perfect accuracy. Humanity might appear peaceful, even modest, but something deep and ancient moved beneath the surface. The Concord had discovered more than a lost colony. They had found a people who waited with purpose. Far above, the Vigilant circled the hidden star, its crew watching every signal, every shift of gravity. None could escape the same thought. If the humans could shape a planet so perfectly, what else might they shape across the galaxy? Far above the hidden world, the Vigilant and the rest of the exploration fleet maintained a careful orbit. Their lights sparkled faintly against the dark matter curtain that surrounded the system like a cosmic veil. On the bridge of the Vigilant, Captain Avon Takor read the latest reports with a heavy mind. The first meetings with the humans of Sol had been peaceful. They spoke in calm voices, offered food and safe lodging, and asked for nothing in return. Yet every sensor reading carried quiet alarm. The planet's gravity field corrected itself without machines. Children predicted the wind and the tides. Entire cities ran on unknown energy that produced no waste. These were not signs of weakness. They were signs of a power too deep for conquered science to explain. Messages flowed across the long channels of subspace. The Concord Council received Ivan's reports and responded with urgent requests for more detail. Soon transmissions from other fleets arrived, filled with questions, arguments, and rising fear. The discovery of a hidden advanced species, one that had watched the galaxy for ages, shook the Concord to its core. Inside the Vigilance conference room, senior officers gathered around a wide holotable. The holographic faces of Concord representatives flickered above it. Elders of the crystalline Lauren, the scaled warriors of the Keth, the luminous minds of the Seraphine, and many others. Their voices overlapped in a storm of debate. "This species hides entire star systems inside dark matter," said Admiral Soren of the Keth, his eyes burning like blue flames. "They predict storms and bend gravity. You call them peaceful, Captain, but they are dangerous. Containment is the only safe path," an elder of the Lauren replied in a voice like ringing glass. "Containment? You propose to cage a people who have not lifted a single weapon? That is not safety. That is provocation. Their power is their weapon," Soren snapped. "If they control forces that keep stars stable, they could unmake worlds without firing a shot." Captain Avon remained silent until the noise settled. He spoke slowly, his ivory tone steady but firm. "The humans show no wish to harm. They welcomed us openly. Their leader, Mara Ilian, speaks of harmony and balance. I believe they protect more than themselves. Or they prepare for control," Soren countered. "What empire waits in silence for millennia? Only one that plans to strike when others grow careless." The Seraphine representative, a being of shifting light, pulsed in soft blue. "Captain Avon, you spent the most time with these humans. Do you believe they speak truth?" "I do," Avon said after a long pause. "But truth does not remove danger. Their abilities are beyond our understanding. Even if they mean no harm, ignorance breeds fear. And fear leads to war." The chamber fell silent at his words. Across the holotable, faces shimmered with unease. After the call ended, Avon dismissed his officers. Only Commander Jexa remained. She stepped beside him and lowered her voice. "The Concord will not stay patient for long. The Keth already send more ships. They will come with scanners and weapons disguised as research tools." Avon rubbed the edge of the table, thinking of Mara's calm eyes. "If they force a scan of the planet, the humans may react. And if their planet defends itself as gently as it breathes, we may face a power no fleet can resist." Jexa gave a slow nod. "Perhaps we should warn them." Later that night, Avon returned to the surface with a small team. The city of Sol shimmered under the twin light of moon and hidden sun. Rivers glowed with soft reflections of star patterns. The air smelled of warm stone and flowering trees. Mara waited in the great hall as if she had known he would come. She offered a quiet smile and motioned for him to sit. "The Concord debates," she said before he spoke. "They fear what they do not understand. You know of their discussions?" Avon asked, though he was no longer surprised. We listen, Mara replied simply. Your transmissions travel through space. Space listens. Avon took a steady breath. More ships are coming. Some factions wish to scan your world in secret. They may attempt to force entry to your systems. Mara tilted her head slightly as though considering a familiar problem. Then we will ask them not to harm themselves. Her answer chilled him. Your defenses. The gravity waves we measured when we first arrived, are they weapons? They are protections, Mara said. They do not strike. They correct. If a ship attempts a violent scan or attack, the planet's lattice will restore balance. It will feel like a storm, but it is only the universe refusing harm. The universe, Avon repeated softly. You speak as if the galaxy itself obeys you. We do not command, Mara said. We listen and we guide. Long ago, our ancestors built a network, a lattice of harmony across the stars. It keeps fragile systems stable, nudges young worlds toward life, softens the chaos of space. We are its caretakers. Avon stared at her, speechless for a long moment. The idea was too vast to hold. A hidden network shaping the galaxy, keeping suns from collapsing, guiding evolution itself. If true, the humans were not merely advanced. They were essential. Why tell me this? He asked finally. Because the Concord stands at a choice, Mara said. Some will seek control. Some will seek destruction. Both paths lead to ruin. We hope some will choose trust. Avon felt the weight of her words settle in his chest. Trust. A simple word that might decide the future of billions. When he returned to the Vigilant, the fleet was already on alert. A Keth strike group had entered the system's edge without clearance. Their ships moved fast, their scanners hot with energy. Admiral Soren demands full sensor access, Commander Jexa reported. He claims it is for safety. Safety, Avon muttered. Prepare to intercept. No ship approaches the planet without my order. The Vigilant and 2 allied cruisers slid into defensive formation. Across the dark matter curtain, the Keth fleet burned like angry sparks. On the planet below, the signal changed once more. Rhythms deepened into a low, steady pulse that shook every deck of every ship. Instruments flickered. Gravity readings spiked and fell in perfect waves. It was not an attack. It was a warning. Avon opened a channel to the Keth Admiral. Admiral Soren, you are destabilizing the system. Withdraw at once. This is conquered space, Soren barked. I will not be ordered by a single captain. Before Avon could reply, a surge of invisible force rolled through the fleet. Ships shuddered as if caught in a soft but irresistible tide. Engines dimmed. Weapons powered down without command. Even the mighty Keth cruisers drifted helplessly, their scanners dark. Gravity waves, Jexa reported, eyes wide. But there is no source. Space itself is pushing us back. Across the channel, Soren's voice cut through static. All systems disabled. No damage, but we cannot move. What is this? Avon stared at the sensor display. The humans warned us. The lattice defends. Slowly the force eased. Power returned to the ships, but the message was clear. Any attempt to force entry would meet the same silent correction. Within hours, the Concord Council convened again, this time with urgent voices and humbled tones. Arguments shifted from attack to diplomacy. Even Admiral Soren spoke more carefully, though his eyes still burned with frustration. Captain Avon delivered his report in measured words. The humans claim to guide a lattice that stabilizes the galaxy. They have defended their world without harm to any ship. They ask only for trust. Some representatives called for partnership, hoping to learn from this ancient science. Others warned of hidden dangers, fearful of a power that could shut down fleets without firing a shot. The council reached no decision. Fear and wonder held equal weight. After the meeting, Avon stood alone on the observation deck, watching the hidden star burn against the black. Commander Jexa joined him, her voice low. The Concord is breaking into factions, she said. Some want alliance, some want control, and some will never accept a power they cannot match. Avon kept his eyes on the distant planet where humans walked in quiet gardens, shaping forces beyond imagination. The galaxy stands at a turning point, he said softly, and the choice will not belong to the conquered alone. Below, the world of Sol glowed with calm light, waiting as it always had, patient, unshaken, and ready for whatever the stars might decide. The calm of Sol was deceptive. From orbit, the planet seemed serene, glowing under the hidden sun as though nothing in the galaxy could touch it. But Captain Aventicor knew better. Below, the humans walked among their cities with quiet confidence, yet above, fleets argued and threatened. Even the Conquered's own diplomats had fractured into competing factions. The Vigilant orbited silently, its sensors monitoring the world below. Every instrument had already measured what should have been impossible. Gravity anomalies stabilized fleets without engines. Predictable weather and energy flows defied logic. And through it all, Mara Ilian and her people maintained their calm. "Captain," Commander Jexa said from her station, "I'm detecting unusual energy fluctuations. Not dangerous, but unmistakable. The planet is aware of the Concord fleet's tension." Avon did not respond immediately. He watched the horizon, where forests and rivers reflected soft golden light. "They warned us," he said finally. "They do not attack. They guide, but they can defend themselves without harming anyone. That makes them stronger than any fleet in the Concord." Jexa swallowed. "Do you think they will intervene if the fleets act aggressively?" Avon's eyes narrowed. "They already have, subtly, and if a strike is attempted, the results may be catastrophic." The tension grew over the next hours. Reports arrived that a small Keth strike force had begun a covert scan of Sol's atmosphere, attempting to map energy signatures. Their fleet moved quietly, sensors active, no weapons drawn. "Captain," Jexa said, "they're scanning. If Mara's people react, we won't be able to stop it." Avon nodded. "Prepare a message. Warn them, send no force. Let them know we respect Sol's boundaries." A few minutes later, a calm reply arrived. Mara's voice echoed across the subspace channel. "We are aware. The lattice notices imbalance. It will not harm unless provoked. Your warning is appreciated." The word lattice settled over Avon's mind. It was a term used lightly, but the consequences were clear. This was not a weapon in the conventional sense. It was an active network, something living, something that maintained balance across Sol, and possibly beyond. The Keth scanners continued their work. Sensors lit up the bridge in alarming patterns. Gravity readings shifted. Instruments glitched. For a brief moment, even the Vigilant stabilizers faltered. The ship dipped slightly as if caught in a tide. "Pull back," Avon ordered, his voice firm. "Immediately. Respect the planet." The Keth admiral resisted at first, but then all their readings spiked uncontrollably. Energy fields surged across their ships, not striking them, but making movement impossible. Engines shuddered, sensors failed, yet no damage was done. "Captain," Jexa said, eyes wide, "this is exactly what Mara warned. The lattice reacts to aggression. It does not kill. It corrects." Avon let the word sink in. "It protects. Not only the planet, but the galaxy itself." Later that day, Avon requested a private meeting with Mara. He arrived at the Great Hall, where sunlight passed through glass walls, casting soft rainbows across the polished floor. Mara greeted him, her expression calm. "You have seen the reaction," she said. "The lattice does not punish. It prevents." The conquered fleets felt it. No one was harmed. "But imbalance cannot continue." Avon studied her. "You said it guards more than this planet." "What do you mean?" She motioned for him to follow. Outside, a vast chamber opened, filled with panels of glowing crystal and floating spheres that pulsed softly with light. The patterns mirrored the stars beyond, though no human hand seemed to move them. "The lattice is older than any Concord record," Mara explained. "Our ancestors discovered it in the early days of galactic civilization. It was designed to stabilize stars, to guide the development of life on young worlds, to prevent chaos from growing unchecked." Avon stepped closer, awestruck. "You maintain a system that touches entire star systems. Without weapons?" "Not without strength," Mara said gently, "but without violence. The lattice listens. It measures. It corrects. If a star begins to collapse prematurely, it can shift gravitational currents. If a planet tilts too far in orbit, it can guide it back. It is subtle, and it is silent until needed." The captain's mind raced. "And the conquered fleets? They nearly caused harm." Mara's gaze softened. "They acted from fear. We corrected. They learned." "Why reveal this to us?" Avon asked. "Because choices are now being made," Mara said. "The conquered is divided. Some factions wish to control the lattice. Some wish to destroy it out of fear. If they succeed, the galaxy itself could suffer." Avon felt the weight of the words. He imagined entire systems destabilizing. Stars collapsing, worlds thrown into chaos. What can we do? He asked. Mara pointed to the glowing spheres. You can listen. You can trust. You can help calm the young. The conquered must learn restraint. Only by understanding our purpose can we avoid disaster. The night fell and the city of Sol glowed beneath a sky thick with stars. From the envoy's observation balcony, Avon watched children play beside rivers unaware of the power their ancestors held. Even so, their presence carried authority. The humans of Sol had chosen patience, guiding the galaxy quietly, without notice, without fear. Back on the Vigilant, discussions erupted among the conquered officers. Some proposed formal treaties offering to learn from the humans in exchange for careful access to the lattice. Others demanded withdrawal, arguing that the threat of unchecked power, even silent power, was too dangerous. Captain Avon addressed the fleet. We have seen what the humans can do. They have defended their world without a single weapon fired. They do not seek conquest. They maintain balance. The choice now is ours. Force control, or trust and learn. The words echoed in the conference hall. Even the Keth, known for their impatience and desire for dominance, remained silent, sensing the gravity of the decision. Suddenly, alarms flashed across the Vigilant. Another Keth strike group approached, not covert, this time in full formation. Shields and engines glowing, weapons silent but ready. The fleet tensed. Avon opened a direct channel to Mara. The Keth advance. They will not respect caution. What happens if they reach the planet? Mara's voice was steady, calm as the stars above. Then the lattice will act. It will defend, but it will not harm unnecessarily. It will guide them to choice, withdrawal, or disaster. The decision is theirs. Jexa's hand hovered over the console. If they continue, thousands of lives are at risk. Even without weapons, the forces at work could shift a star or destabilize an orbit. Then we must hope reason is stronger than fear, Avon said. Prepare all ships for defensive formation. But hold weapons. Let the humans' methods guide the encounter. The Keth fleet neared. Engines roared, sensors active, eyes unblinking. Then slowly a pulse swept through space. Gravity waves, energy flows, subtle distortions, but precise, controlled, non-lethal. Ships wavered in orbit, engines straining, scanners flickering. And yet no vessel suffered damage. The fleet officers exchanged stunned looks. The humans had not fired a single shot, yet the power to protect and to warn was unmistakable. Avon realized what Mara meant. The lattice was not a weapon, nor a tool of conquest. It was a force of correction, a living network that balanced chaos. And now the conquered would have to choose, cooperation or destruction. As the night deepened over Sol, the hidden sun glowed softly, rivers reflected the stars, and children played. Humanity's patience, their silent guidance, and their unseen strength formed a calm shield over the galaxy. Captain Avon Tekor understood at last. The humans had been waiting not for war, but for reason. The conquered might yet learn to trust, or they might force the lattice to show its full, unimaginable power. And in that waiting, every star, every planet, every life in the surrounding systems teetered on the edge of choice. The conquered fleets had stopped their advance. For hours, the Keth and other factions hovered at the edge of the system, unsure how to proceed. Gravity waves and energy flows continued to ripple through space, subtle but unmistakable. No one could move a ship without permission. No weapons fired, yet every officer knew the power at work was beyond comprehension. Captain Avon Tekor stood on the observation deck of the Vigilant, staring at the hidden world below. Sol glowed with calm light, cities shining gently, rivers reflecting the twin moons. Children played on grassy hills, unaware that their existence held the balance of entire star systems. Commander Jexa joined him, her face tense. Captain, this standoff could last days, weeks. If the conquered cannot reach a decision, we may face internal collapse. Avon nodded slowly. Or worse, he said, an attempt to seize control. We saw what happened when the Keth tried their scan. The lattice defends itself and will escalate if necessary. The galaxy cannot survive a reckless strike. A message arrived from Mara Ilian. Her voice was calm as always. Captain Avon, the conquered must meet on Sol alone in the central plaza. The humans will mediate. No weapons. No ships in orbit above. Only words. It is time for reason to speak louder than fear. Avon prepared the landing team. The shuttle descended through soft clouds, carrying representatives from each major Concord species: Lauren, Seraphine, Keth, and others. They were reluctant, tense, and weary, but Mara's calm voice guided them as they touched down in the open plaza. The humans waited, as if they had known this moment would arrive. Mara Ilian stood in the center, surrounded by other elders, her posture quiet but commanding. The Concord envoys arranged themselves around her, hesitant and unsure. Mara raised a hand and the plaza fell into silence. "Welcome," she said. "We will speak plainly. The lattice does not exist to dominate. It exists to maintain balance, to guide life, to prevent destruction. We have acted for eons without interference. Now the galaxy stands at a choice. You may trust or you may seek control. Both paths will have consequences." Admiral Soren of the Keth stepped forward, voice sharp. "Your lattice threatens the freedom of the Concord. You may control stars, yet you refuse to answer our requests. We demand access." Mara's eyes were steady. "Access is not your right. The lattice cannot be commanded. It is a living network that responds only to imbalance, to violence, to chaos. Any attempt to seize it will be corrected, and no species can survive full correction." A murmur ran through the conquered representatives. Fear was obvious. Even those who admired human power realized that attempting control was not a risk. They would be destroyed. Avon took a deep breath. "Admiral Soren, the humans have defended their world without killing a single Concord officer. They seek balance, not war. They ask only for trust. If the fleets attempt force, they risk everything, not just their ships." Soren's jaw tightened, but the Seraphine elder spoke next. "Captain Avon is correct. We have already felt the lattice's correction. It is not a weapon of conquest. It is a tool of guidance. Do we wish to learn, or do we wish to test our luck against it?" Arguments and whispers filled the plaza. Some envoys demanded knowledge. Others warned of the danger. The debate grew tense, but Mara held her hand up again. Silence fell. "There is a choice," she said, her voice calm as a river. "You may withdraw and learn, carefully under guidance, or you may attempt control and force the lattice to correct. Only one path preserves life and the balance of the galaxy. The other leads to collapse." Captain Avon stepped forward. "We propose a treaty. The conquered fleets will respect Sol and its people. In return, the humans will teach us gradually the principles of the lattice. No force will be used. No species will dominate. This will be the beginning of a new understanding, one built on patience, trust, and knowledge." Some envoys hesitated. The Keth, ever proud, glared but said nothing. Others nodded. Slowly, one by one, the representatives agreed. The Conquered Council would formally endorse this new alliance. Mara smiled faintly. "Then it is done. The galaxy will learn restraint. It will learn to act with care." A pulse ran through the plaza. The lattice's subtle energy reached every corner, stabilizing the city, guiding the fleets, and even extending across space to touch distant worlds. It was invisible, gentle, and yet undeniably powerful. The conquered officers felt it, a quiet certainty that reason had prevailed. In the following days, humans and conquered representatives worked together to establish protocols. Scientists studied the lattice from a distance. Envoys learned to communicate without disturbing the balance. The hidden network of stars, rivers of gravity and energy flows became a shared responsibility, guided slowly, carefully, under human patience. Captain Avon returned frequently to the observation balcony. He watched the children of Sol playing, unaware of the enormous responsibility their species carried. Their laughter carried across the plaza like a promise. Humans had never needed weapons to prove strength. Their power was quiet, patient, and beyond the comprehension of even the greatest fleets. Commander Jexa joined him one evening, looking at the glowing city below. "Captain, do you think the Concord truly understands what they have witnessed?" Avon smiled faintly. "They understand the danger, yes, but understanding is different from mastery. Humans have shown us that strength is not only in firepower, but in patience, restraint, and wisdom. That is a lesson the galaxy needs now more than ever." From orbit, the Vigilant and the other fleets watched quietly. Engines powered down, weapons held in trust, shields lowered. For the first time, centuries of galactic exploration had led not to conquest, not to battle, but to mutual respect. The hidden sun of Sol dipped behind distant mountains, casting long shadows across the city. Mara walked among her people, serene and composed, as if every moment were measured and every decision weighed. Avon felt a deep humility. Humanity had waited patiently at the edge of the galaxy, not seeking fame, not seeking victory, only watching and guiding until the universe itself was ready for them. Days turned into weeks. The conquered learned slowly, cautiously. Ships carried knowledge, not weapons. Envoys exchanged ideas. Scientists shared findings about gravity, energy, and balance, always under human guidance. The lattice remained a quiet guardian, correcting only when necessary, teaching only those who could learn. At night, Captain Avon returned to the observation deck one last time before leaving orbit. The city of Sol glowed softly, rivers sparkling, mountains dark and proud, forest whispering with life. Stars stretched across the sky, more brilliant than any charted by the conquered. The hidden sun reflected off the clouds in golden bands. He thought of the humans he had met, the calm wisdom of Mara Ilian, the laughter of children predicting the wind, the quiet authority of a species that could shape planets without domination. He realized what had been true all along. Humanity's greatest strength was patience. Their power was invisible yet undeniable. Their lesson was clear. True strength does not come from conquest but from restraint, guidance, and careful watchfulness. As the Vigilant and the Concord fleets prepared to depart, Mara spoke to Avon one final time. "Do not fear the galaxy, Captain," she said. "It will test you. But the measure of your people is not in how hard you strike, but in how wisely you act. Remember that and the stars will endure." Avon nodded. "We will remember." The shuttle lifted off, rising past glittering rivers and quiet forests. The hidden sun bathed the fleet in a soft golden glow. Below, the humans of Sol continued their daily lives, unaware of how close the galaxy had come to tipping into chaos, and of how their quiet strength had prevented it. As the conquered fleets retreated toward familiar space, Captain Avon looked at the stars. They seemed different now, more fragile yet more alive. Somewhere beyond, hidden in dark matter and quiet light, humanity waited at the edge, guiding, protecting, teaching the galaxy that true strength is measured not in power, but in patience and wisdom. And for the first time, the Galactic conquered understood what it meant to meet a species that was older, wiser and more capable than any record had suggested. Humanity had returned not to conquer, but to remind the stars themselves that balance, patience, and understanding could hold the galaxy together, even when all else seemed lost. In that calm, shining moment, Captain Avon realized that the story of humanity was not about power, war, or glory. It was about hope. Hope that the galaxy could survive its own ambition. Hope that life, fragile and brilliant, could endure. Hope that patience and wisdom would guide the stars even at the edge of the Milky Way. And so humanity remained, silent, patient, and eternal, a quiet force that kept the universe whole.